the stock market, meaning companies, new highs.
I'm not fucking leaving.
The show goes on.
Nuts! They're nuts! They know nothing!
An online network called Internet.
Well, it's very hip to be on the Internet right now.
Welcome, my degenerates. The rest of your life starts right now on Market Mania. The no bullshit approach to all financial markets, including Bitcoin, NFTs, Top Shots, and the largest casino in the world, the US stock market. Today on Market Mania, we will give away that NFT one day from this show. The Mark of the Beast. Don't think it's a Lil Nas X story, but we'll see. Humanigen positive trial. Visa is jumping on board with the Ethereum version of USDC. And top story, Hwang blows up. It is the largest casino in the world. Can't go into Bellagio with 10 billion and try to get 50 billion in action. That's just, you can't bet multiple market caps of MGM. So when you need that level of action, Hwang goes to form some sort of a family office, not a traditional hedge fund subjected to the traditional reporting. And this is an absolute banana story. A lot of you may have noticed Friday, and the market just sort of digested it over the weekend, that there were some massive moves in some huge companies like Discovery, Viacom, and then a weird one that I don't know much about, GSX. And look at these charts. I mean, this is ridiculous. And you see Discovery, there's Viacom, and from $97 or so plummets to 44. And this is not a small cap NFT maker with 100 million cap. This is like a $45 billion company. CBS, you guys know CBS, and there's a lot of other things in Viacom. And massive media giant just took an absolute bath, like 27%, and then even more. And it is very possibly all due to this guy, Hwang. And not many people have heard of it. Matt Glantz was saying that not many people have heard of this, and it appears that he had about 10 billion in his family office, about 10 billion in equity, and it appears that he got leverage up to 5x on this money through only a handful of these media, seemingly mostly media companies. And it appears that he got margin called. It appears they started to go down. And then again, 5x, you only need to go down 15% or so to start getting your margin calls. And then once the margin calls come in at that size, you saw the carnage from Friday. Matt Glantz, can you help us unpack this a little bit? Is it just as simple as that? Huge, massive, like, who's giving this guy 5x? Like, do you know anything more about this?
Yeah, so it's a hedge fund that's not a hedge fund. It's called a family office, but it's exactly what you think of as a hedge fund. He was a long short guy. You know, maybe he had, I don't know, let's just guess he had 30 positions, and he's long 15, short 15 maybe. So you get leverage, but the idea is, you know, as the market goes down, your shorts will win, your longs will lose, or the market goes up, your longs will win, your shorts will lose, that kind of thing. But he was so leveraged, and then I think he had like 15% of the value of Viacom, the company. That was his position. So he owned like 1/6 of the company, and they did a offering last week at $85 a share. It didn't go so well. It got priced down. The stock got smoked. He started having leverage issues. Probably was leveraged to the max, whatever his prime brokers allowed. He had prime brokers, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Nomura, Credit Suisse, all the big ones. So they all, you know, he had a big network of prime brokers, so he could get leverage from each one of them. And they probably didn't know from one another how much he had within all the prime brokerage networks. And this probably goes on with a lot of firms, and you think it could be a problem going further with the collapse of the system with these stocks, because not so much that every other hedge fund had the same stocks as these guys, but every other hedge fund uses the same prime brokerage people, and those prime brokerage houses their risk departments will start telling their traders and their managers that they need to clamp down on this, and there's going to be new rules. So, Goldman might have been the first one on Thursday and said, look, no more 5-to-1 leverage. Max we're giving is 2-to-1 now. And then, maybe Credit Suisse after Friday's blow up says, their risk department comes down and says, look, we're only giving 1.5-to-1 leverage. So what that does is the whole hedge fund community now has to de-lever their longs and shorts. And if everyone's on the one side or the wrong side, a lot of these stocks can go down 50% in a day because they have to get out. They get they get margined out.
So this is actually what happens when ape season goes wrong. I'm going to put the hat on. And it looks like that run up. I mean, Matt, look at that run up from just this year. It looks like the stock's trading less than $40. And then you got to wonder if this Hwang guy was just like on like bid.
Like, yeah.
And then, they did an offering. Company says, okay, well, our shares, we'd like to raise some capital at these prices. We'd like to sell a little bit more of ourselves. And then that looks like that was the cascading. I mean, boy, that guy having your morning coffee, seeing that has to be ridiculous. So look at what Jason Strauss has said. This is interesting. Who says you can't trade stocks on weekends? And remember, Strauss, he is the co-founder of a fund. I forget what the name of it, but he's subject to, and he tweets about this, he's subject to all sorts of filings for his positions. Isn't that right, Matt? Like he has to file.
All the hedge funds are, but this is it's like a family office kind of thing. It's like a way to get around the rules. It won't be for long because after this, they're going to have the same rules as hedge funds. Basically, it's going to be no different sooner.
I'll tell you what I like, Matt. You talked about how this could have a cascading effect where a lot of companies could drop 50%. That is put buying season where I come from. Try and hit some way out of the money options.
So that's a good point, Brett. The VIX is up 10% today. It's up to 21 on a day where the market is pretty much unchanged. The NASDAQ and the SPOOs are down 0.5%. So it's very unusual that the VIX would be up 10%. That's a big move. So that's the volatility index, and that's showing you that people are buying puts and buying protection all over the place.
So one just strange other part that I don't quite understand, but it's probably a good Google, is that it says that Hwang was using swaps. And then when Glance just said that he owned about 15% of Viacom, that is a staggering amount of the stock to own without a filing. That is
credit swaps and these kind of swaps, they're derivatives. So basically, I'll just give you an example. Most people know what calls are and options. So if I buy 1,000 calls in Tesla, okay, I don't own any stock, right? So I have 0% of the stock, but effectively, if the stock goes up, 10%, I make $1 zillion on my 1,000 calls. So monetarily, I do own a piece of the company, theoretically that way. So these guys do swaps. They don't own any stock. They don't have to do any filings. They don't own a big percentage of the company. But in essence, they do own stock in a financial way, because if the stock goes up, they're going to make money. If the stock goes down, they're going to lose. So that's how they get around it.
He doesn't own the equity, but he has a bet equivalent to 15% of the Viacom market cap.
Right. Well, that's what the rumor is. So who knows the truth?
Yeah, and then there's no underlying equity there. He's borrowing that from one of these big banks, or is it?
So he's just they're just writing contracts with these other brokerage houses like Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, and they're just writing contracts. They're derivatives. They're just like warrants, options, but they're called swaps. And basically, it's just like a contract that says if Tesla goes up 10%, you're going to make $10 billion. If Tesla goes down 10%, you're going to lose $10 billion. But it's more complicated than that, but that's the essence of it.
This is likely a continuing developing story. One of the big prime brokers, was it Nomura? Nomura, I don't even know how to say it. Nomura. They were talking about a $2 billion loss. Does that essentially mean they gave this guy 5x leverage and they couldn't recover on the liquidation enough to cover? They recovered. He's negative. All of his equity plus $2 billion.
They're the prime brokerage or the clearing firm. What happens is this guy Hwang, whatever his firm's called, would give put $2 billion in their account, in Nomura's account, and they get leverage off that, so they could trade maybe $8 billion worth of stock with that $2 billion. And as soon as if they start losing, say their equity is only worth $6 billion, maybe Nomura says you got to send us 200 million or you got to close some stocks. They get a margin call, and then as stocks keep going against them, they lose, and then what happens is if they can't get out of their stocks and Nomura doesn't force them to get out of their stocks, then they can lose more than the money they posted. Basically, it's the money posted with Nomura. So they've lost. So essentially, they lost $2 billion more, or they're saying they lost $2 billion more than what Hwang posted with them.
This is Brent. What if you were stuck $2 billion? If you're just mega wrecked across and you're stuck $2 billion more. It
reminds me of like E.K. Batista, the first negative billionaire. He was worth like 60 billion at one point, and then he went to negative $1 billion, and like now he's in jail or something. So that's like, man, Jay-Z said it: sell crack, make $1 million, then stop. And like this Hwang guy got in trouble for insider trading stuff in 2012 or whatever. But like when you get to that level of wealth,
10B
rule number one is don't fuck it up, right? Like keep 1 billion and fire the 9 if you want. Don't fire 20 and you only have 10.
I have a question for you guys. So what happens when you're worth 10 billion and now you lose everything? You're only worth 50 million. Do you kill yourself?
No. What? No.
I mean, in this company,
I feel
Hwang, like all the shame, the Japanese shame and all this stuff. When he's only worth 50 million. Is it suicidal time or what?
I would imagine he should talk to a therapist. That'd probably be a good step.
Some guys will leverage 10 billion before going to therapy.
They're selling, Mortimer. Well, that's ridiculous.
Also, you got to understand he's losing other people's money. He's losing family and friends' money, so it is pretty depressing. It's not fun.
You don't need leverage with 10 billion.
I wouldn't want to be that guy. But no one made him do it, right? He made those choices.
You got to wonder, is it a psychopath? How does he wake up? Does he feel bad today? Is he just like throwing shit in his house? Or is he just like calmly like opening the accounts and he's like, minus 2 billion. That sucks. Anyway, Visa. Brett, this is a huge story. Visa says that it's going to allow settlements with USDC.
Yeah. I believe it is the Ethereum version of USDC, which was a little interesting. It's on Solana and Algorand at least as well. But Ethereum, they're going with the more expensive, but the safer version. And Visa, I mean, they have probably the #1 payment network in the world, I would imagine. And there's obviously a lot of excitement around crypto's use case for payments. So that's just a pretty good partnership, in my opinion. And it also bodes well for Visa that they're not necessarily just trying to keep the Visa network only alive, that they're willing to sort of adapt and move into some of these new frontiers and hopefully keep that front runner position that they've established going. So
did we figure out what this means? Did we figure out what it means? Does it mean that you can pay your Visa bill in USDC? Does it mean that they settle these like
partners,
multi-hundred million like daily settlements in USDC?
So they have crypto partners, and they previously were converting all of the crypto to cash each day, and now they're moving. It's partnered with Crypto.com is this initial sort of launch, and now they're going to straight USDC to settle. So like if you are a crypto company dealing with Visa, you can now settle with them straight in USDC. So it is, I believe, this is not customer facing at this point. It is like vendor or whatever company level settlement with Visa. You can do via USDC.
Don't quite get it yet, but I will have to dig into that one. I mean, it seems positive for the crypto space.
Like if you're a crypto company that's doing business with Visa and dealing with crypto, you can now settle with them just via USDC. Before they were taking crypto, converting it into dollars, or
having
whatever.
to do a Swift wire or something. Now you can just take it straight up to the USD. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
that's got to be positive. Tony, the producer. There is Matt Glantz. This is a stock that is
Humanigen. Humanigen. That's a cool name. So the headline today, they reported positive phase 3 top line results. Basically, it's like a treatment for COVID. The stock's up 90%, so basically doubled. It's 26. It was 13 the other day, whatever. Here's the thing. So I looked into this because, on trade, there's options trade in this, and I like to take a look before I dive in. And when you look into it, here's what's really going on. They announced positive top line results, and Brett, follow me here. They got from a phase 3 clinical trial evaluating the efficiency and safety of lemzulumab. That is their drug. Trial results showed that patients who received lemzulumab and other treatments, including steroids and remdesivir, altogether had a 54% greater relative likelihood of survival. So their drug combined with remdesivir and steroids gave people that are very sick with COVID a 54% greater relative likelihood of survival. To me, I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but to me, that's not such a great drug that they have to combine it with 2 other drugs, one from another company, one and just random steroids. And it still only provides a 54% chance greater of survival in those tough times. When you're
this is like for critically ill COVID patients or something.
So to me, like, how does a stock double? Like, how is that so great of
You
a
get 54% extra.
Yeah, if I'm in the hospital and they're like, hey, you might die, and then by the way, we can boost your chances by 50%. That sounds pretty good to me.
Hell yeah!
But how long are they gonna be able to sell this drug for? I mean, is this going to go on for years? I don't know. It's like it seems like a very short term kind of situation. This COVID.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the vaccines coming out, I agree. That pump looks insane, right? It's almost like can you buy options on this? Speaking of buying puts on
Yes.
all right,
Yeah.
Largest casino in the world, all bets accepted.
Example there, Brett. Humanigen is 26.5 right now, and so they expire in 18 days. The April 16th 20 puts are $2. The April 40 calls are $2.25.
So they're expecting a pullback in essence based on the options market with a massive
40,
premium.
The 40
on the
calls
put.
are more expensive.
So they're expecting volatility.
40 calls and 20 puts are basically the same with the stock at 26, which is
$1.4 billion company here. Looks like it's posting mostly losses recently.
Yeah, I'm going to buy some puts on this thing. I know you say don't buy the options, but I'm going to do it. Nothing crazy.
I don't believe this pump. I don't believe this hype. I'm actually short the stock now.
Tony, the producer, welcome to the show. It's your show. And what do we got here with the new dystopian COVID passports? And it's on blockchain.
Oh, I just hate this. Matt, you pointed this out probably a few weeks ago, just saying that...
A few months ago.
Yeah, a few months ago, that there was going to be a demand for blockchain-based COVID passports before they let you get into events or get on trains, things like that. And here it is. And it's blockchain-based, and the people signing up for it are like Times Union Center, Madison Square Garden. I mean, God, who are these supervillains that just can't do the game theory on this, that don't understand that this is just the actual death of liberty, the death of privacy? I mean, it was already in tatters, but it seems like people don't even give a second thought when they start pushing these through. So I guess my question is, are people going to wake up from this fear, this crazy desire for control, or is this a glimpse into our new future, our new normal? I'm looking for any hope here, Matt. What do you think?
So I don't look at it the same way you do, Tony. And I was pointing out a couple months ago, it's not because there's a fear of COVID, which there is, but that's not the reason why they're doing this kind of stuff. It's all about the legal system in the United States, and everything's about protecting your corporate interests. And every corporation who wants to open up, wants to run an event, say at the Madison Square Garden, they want to run a basketball game, or the World Series of Poker wants to run a poker tournament. Or a cruise ship wants to have a cruise go. They all have to listen to their legal department. The lawyers tell them you got to find a way to test people because we need to have that as backup when people start suing us later because they got COVID. They say they got on our cruise ship. We have to say we tested everyone. It's just the way the U.S. legal system works because everyone's suing each other. So it's just these kind of things have to come up, and these products fill a need.
This is going to be hacked. They're gonna find a way around it. You're gonna have your buddy get the test. You're gonna get the pass. You're gonna scan the QR code on the way into MSG for your floor seats. I can't see this actually working. I mean, yes, it'll be a provable
It's not there.
blockchain
It's not
record.
designed to save people's lives. It's not designed to keep people from getting COVID. It's designed to keep the corporations from getting sued. That's all it
That's
is.
facts. That's facts, Clarence.
That's the way everything works in this country. It's a tort system. It's just the way it works. So that's why I knew months ago. It's like it doesn't matter what we want, what we think makes sense. It's all matter what the legal department's going to tell the guys at the company what they have to do, and that you can't go around it.
But I guess my question, Brett, for you then isn't blockchain technology unfakeable? Isn't that why it's so powerful? Is that we're not going to be able to counterfeit these passes?
I mean, I think you could still counterfeit it. It's more the blockchain just is a proof of it's this digital ledger, right? So you can see all the transactions or whatever have happened. But like here they say you can print it out or whatever.
It could be an NFT.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This whole thing, obviously Cuomo, his name's all over it. This is just sick to me. It's a disease that is like .something% death rate, right? It's really small. And like we've already changed everyone's entire life over COVID, which was pretty senseless to begin with. And now this, I don't know, man, it's just pretty sick. It's sick and twisted. I saw a meme today. Orwell was like, I was right or something like that. And like we're heading to that. And people are cheering this. This is the sick thing because it's like this is blue team, this is Biden, so like that's my team, so I have to cheer for it because I'm on the blue team. So therefore, this has to be good. Like, why can't you call it out? It's fucking sick.
You can debate the effect. I mean, you could debate the effectiveness and how bad it is and whatever. But like Matt said, this is not a response based on science. This is a response based on legal, and this is just we've seen it moving this way for years and years. It's Satoshi's vision. This is exactly why he made the blockchain, so that the government could control who got vaccinated in a pandemic situation.
Great.
And you guys are gonna have to eat it up. You're gonna have to eat it up if you want to go see the Nets play.
I'm worried about like a much more dangerous disease that comes along because they've already jammed this horrific playbook out on COVID, which is like fairly benign, and then I imagine there's gonna be something worse coming along.
Yeah, anytime you show the government that they can take your rights in an emergency, they're going to create the emergency and then come and take your rights. So
yeah, like a lot of things are never going to come back to normal.
I agree.
Vaccines work.
I love it.
Vaccines work.
Goes off into the X-Files sometimes with you guys with the conspiracies. I love it.
Yeah, well, I'm having a lot of trouble not believing this stuff is coming. I mean, anytime you tell people about Bitcoin and then they tell you you're crazy and then it explodes, you sort of primed for other conspiracies. But I'm gonna get out of here.
Every week or so, we need to have a segment, the X-Files segment, with the X-Files music and throw Tony on, talk about the government, the manipulation in the silver market, that kind of stuff. I love it.
I'd love it too.
There is a COVID.
The X-Files moment.
There's a COVID. It took out some people. I mean, you can debate effectiveness of destroying lives versus it, but it's out there. You're going to be out there anyway. We're going to sell an NFT. No, we're not going to sell it. We're just giving it away. And there's an NFT from Bill, old school friend from back in Vegas that I remember. Yeah, it's been a long time. And this is an awesome NFT. And how are we giving this away? What are we doing? We spinning it? We're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. Maybe tomorrow, sometime this week during the show. You got to be active in the chat, right, Tony?
Sorry, I went away there for a second. So yeah, what we'll do is tomorrow is our 100th episode, and so if you are active in the chat tomorrow, if you're in there at all, I'm going to collect all those names, and we'll do a spinner, and whoever the spinner ends up on, you will get our NFT.
Free
Make sure you
NFT.
have an OpenSea account. We're going to do it on OpenSea. So
you don't just need an Ethereum address? Any MetaMask?
We'll figure it out. That's fine.
Yeah,
we can probably send it. We'll figure it out.
You're gonna get it. You're gonna get an NFT if you win. We're gonna ship it to you. We'll pay the gas fees and all.
Yeah, there you go.
And so be here tomorrow for the 100th episode of Market Mania. Quite an occasion. And that will wrap us for today. No, it won't wrap us for today. It won't. Because, Tony, load up that pick of the day because it's time for the Market Mania pick of the day.
it like it's hot. Everybody stack 'em, stack 'em to the top.
We don't waste your time, but we do have to fix the safety glasses. It's not investment advice. Of course not. You do have to do your own research. Matt Glantz, what's the pick of the day?
Kratos Defense Technology, 2774, looks like. There are a lot of option call buyers in it. I don't know much about it, but it's a hot stock, and they do a lot of government work, military grade work.
Yep. They are going to keep bombing no matter who's in office. So,
it's also it's also a big part of the space ETF. The ARK Invest space ETF starting tomorrow.
All right. Brett Ritchie, what is your pick of the day?
I'm rolling with Visa. I'm a big fan of this move they're taking into crypto and engaging directly with crypto companies. They have, as far as I know, the #1 payments network in the world by a lot. So that seems like a pretty good move for Visa.
Coming for your lunch, Visa, the crypto space, that is. And I'm glad to see that you welcome your new overlords with the USDC integration. And I'm going to just go ahead and, why not, fire on Viacom. Stock's down 50% since last week. Obviously, there's a little equity change with the new offering. And haven't really watched CBS in a while. Don't really know what's on. Oh, no, they got the basketball, right? Doesn't matter. This guy got wrecked. He got liquidated. If I remember anything from the leverage trading, as soon as you see somebody get liquidated, you can, Jay-Z will point out the bounce for you right there. So Viacom for a trade. Why the hell not? That is going to do it now for Market Mania on today. It's a Monday. And got a case of the Mondays. March 29th, 2021. And we will leave you with one from the Bloodhound Gang. It's an old school Bloodhound Gang. Not the ones you know. Not your normie stuff here. But from the old 3.14. Great track. And I mean great track. And it goes a little bit something like this. I need to find a new vagina. Any kinda new vagina. It's hard to rhyme a word like vagina. Calvin Klein kinda North Carolina. Like and subscribe right here on YouTube. And follow the show at Market Mania Show on TikTok and Twitter. We will see you tomorrow, if there is a tomorrow. But for now, it's lights out.
I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. I never sleep if I don't have. I never sleep. I never sleep if I don't have my medicine.
Time to right the wrong. So your hands in the air if you like the song. If you're going over there, take it twice as long. Last time ain't talking about Tylenol. Oh, I bet you'd like to know. You can come around the way if you're trying to go. If you want to switch lanes for a pot of gold or a domino, out of control. The usual. Get mad cause I'm looking at your girl.
Switch it up.
I do it so much louder than everything you've heard. Everybody heard at the word that the world wasn't turning. Act like you're in a jury. However, turn it where I would turn it. Can't lie like it's Mississippi burning. Don't act like you're in a daze. I imagine to look the other way. Couldn't clear space on my mind. Was afraid of the time. Strobe light like in the moonlight. I'm in the mood right now. How about tonight? My interview's tight now. I was surviving.